I'm out here servicing some products that we have out here in the field. We got a couple of Dorking 1835s, 1838s, and probably about 20 or so tracker boards. What we need to be able to do is have, in an emergency, have the tracker boards change the state of the relay. So whether it's a closed state or normally open state, we need to change whatever the state of the relay is at that time. We need to do that with one signal, and it is going to be a constant signal. So we had Transmitter Solutions sells part of their new rain line, and I got to say that the range itself is phenomenal from what we've tested so far. And this was after I had agreed to do the work. This was after we found out that there was some RF issues actually in the building that they've had, and they've had to rectify that with other equipment. Well, after we started installing this stuff, we found that out, and now that we're in the middle of this, we are still happy with the range and the service. So we have a couple of different things. We've got half a dozen XRE-100s, which not only are receivers, but you can actually set them up to be as a transmitter, or you can have a handheld transmitter. So what we were going to do is actually have a constant normally open signal, and then we were going to close that signal, and while it was closed, it was going to stay closed. It was, if you will, latched closed, and we were going to have one of those transmitters continue to send a signal until it was latched back open. So what we're going to do is, as opposed to use the handheld transmitter, we're going to have the XRE-100 act as a transmitter, and we're going to have the rest of the XRE-100s act as receivers. So let's take a quick look at what we've got here. We've just got a little demo unit set up. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch relay 1 on, and we're going to reset everything. So in the newer firmware, the ones with the red dots, you can do this, and you hold it down for about 10 or 15 seconds, and what it'll do is erase everything. So for right now, I'm going to actually switch that back off, even though I'm going to pair it here in a second. So now we're going to go to the ones that we already have set up. So this one will be a permanent install. So you'll just have to take my word for it. I'm going to switch one up, and then I'm going to hold the test pair button down. And switch it off, and then I'm going to just switch it back on. Okay, now that I've got that one erased and in pairing mode, so all I have right now is dip switch 1 on. Okay, I'm going to go over here to this test one. This is just set up on the floor. I'm going to go over here to the test one. Dip switch 2 is on. I'm going to turn dip switch 1 on, and then now I'm going to transmit a signal. And pair them. All right, so looking at the receiver, it's paired. I'm going to go ahead and take it out of pairing mode, what I'm going to call. They could have a different name for it. Okay, and I'm going to take it out of pairing mode over here. So what we should be able to do is send a signal to that, and we're going to get a signal on our multimeter that circuit is closed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually send a continuous signal to 1 and 2. So first I'm going to just test it real quick to see if it'll send me a signal. Okay, so we got a closed signal on there, and that's exactly what we wanted to hear. Hopefully you could hear that, but the meter just went off. So what I needed is a continuous signal. I just didn't need the one signal for 1 second. I need a continuous signal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simulate the contact that we're going to have up front, and we're going to see if it'll hold. Now I've been told that it doesn't do this, so let's see what happens. So we'll come back to you in about 10 minutes and see if it's still holding. use this password. That was super cool. I can't say that was being the nicest because I asked him like what was he going to. I was like, dude, I said, okay. Shout out to Door King, Brian Morgan, my local rep. Thank you so much for all your support. I appreciate that. This is not a Door King matter. This is a Transmitter Solutions matter. So, recap what happened. We bought a handheld transmitter from Transmitter Solutions. If you hold the button down, it sends a momentary signal. On the receiver, it can trigger a relay momentarily, or it can latch, one or the other. But that is the only command that it's ever going to get, is just that one signal, okay? And I need it to do two things with that one signal. I need it to latch the circuit closed, and then when you let off of that signal, I need it to release that and open the circuit, okay? And that's not how they're set up. No problem, okay? However, they do have the equipment that will do that. You scrap the handheld transmitter and you turn your XRE-100 into a transmitter. These guys, I'm telling you, sometimes it makes me upset, Transmitter Solutions. You guys do so much cutting edge stuff. It's crazy. Sometimes you make me mad how smart you guys are. However, the problem became when I called tech support, and tech support said they do not have a product that does that. I said, okay, well, I've got the wrong product. How do I go about getting the right product? Well, if they don't have it, that means I need to actually send all the stuff that's still new back to them and absorb the rest of it, or whatever the case may be. Transmitter Solutions has always been great, so I'm sure they would work it out. However, when I talked to the salesperson, my salesperson, I don't hate to mention his name. I'm not putting him on blast. It wasn't anything that was his issue. I talked to my salesperson. He says, we do have a product that will do that. His terminology was a dead man's latch. And it's in a 433 megahertz range, which is actually still a frequency that we actually get good responses on. And one of the things that we do if we are having a gate or garage door that's having an issue, typically, and I'm going to say every time that I remember, so let's just say 99 times out of 100, we switch them over to a 433, no more problems. So Brady says, hey, we'll do that. It's only about 1,300 foot range, and I need just about that. It's really just about that. So read the manual a little bit more and realized that for relay 1 and relay 2, there's actually an input. So what does that input do? So going back to the beginning of the video, that's where all this came around. I gave it a constant signal. Now the question is, 10 minutes later, is it still getting that constant signal? Now I already know the answer to that. The reason being is because the LED is on. But I was told that this equipment would not do that, and boom, shakalaka, shakalaka, boom, shakalaka, and it does do that, okay? So we take the transmitter, we trash that, maybe give it to one of the on-site personnel if they need to use it, and then now we just get another receiver / transmitter and turn it into a transmitter, and that's good to go. Now, I just want to prove one other thing, that it's not a fluke. Okay, well, I say fluke, it's fluke multimeters. They make the best multimeters, but it's not an accident that that's happening. Again, got a constant signal to it. So I just have this wire shorted between these two jumpers, if you will, on this terminal. And you hear the multimeter is now showing overload, meaning that it actually is not within the range of that multimeter, and we have no longer a signal. And now we're going to stay here for another 4 hours and actually see if it actually gives a constant signal too. So I'm going to go to the store and get us some pizza, and then we'll be ready to go. But anyways, the equipment does exactly what I need it to do, but it was just a little frustrating with tech support today. And the guys at Transmitter Solutions have always been great. Brady's great, Quinn's great, and I'm sure the tech support guy is great after a 2-week vacation. because he was definitely frustrated with me today. Now we've got a product that'll work. Let's hook it up